This is the neighborhood of Faye Wright, located in Salem, Oregon. And today we're going to take a deep dive tour to see if this might be the right neighborhood for you. You are either going to love it or you're going to hate it. But either way, you are about to be one the wiser. We are going to be pulling up a map and breaking down this neighborhood, but I'm also going to be showing you first-person footage from the exact areas we're talking about. Stick around until the end, because I'm going to be sharing with you the top reasons why my YouTube clients are interested in the Faye Wright neighborhood. My name is Clarity Odd, and I'm a local real estate agent here in Salem who specializes in relocations. And just like you, once upon a time, I relocated to Salem. But now I get to make videos all about this amazing city for you, my future clients. If you want to hire me to be a real estate agent here in Salem, all you gotta do is book a one-on-one consultation with me. You can find a link to get on my calendar down in the description below. The Faye Wright neighborhood is wedged between Commercial and Liberty Street, which are two of the main commuting arteries in all of Salem. They are going to connect you with downtown Salem, but also just the lower half of South Salem. Downtown Salem is located right here, which means that if you decide to live in the Faye Wright neighborhood, you are gonna have a really easy access to the center of it all. The Faye Wright neighborhood is probably one of the coolest and most deceptively awesome neighborhoods in all of South Salem. You are likely gonna find yourself at some point in time cutting through the Faye Wright neighborhood to get from either Liberty Street to Commercial Street or vice versa. But let's just pretend for a moment that you are not just simply cutting through the Faye Wright neighborhood, but you want to explore it as a potential place to live. So these are the things that you need to know. The main style of houses that you're going to find in the Faye Wright neighborhood are going to be ranch style, split level, mid-century modern, and then there are a handful of more contemporary-esque houses. If your main focus is finding a single level home, or an older character home, or a home on a larger lot in a lively neighborhood, this is going to be a great spot for you to check out. Because the Faye Wright neighborhood is pretty large, you are going to find a wide variety in home prices and styles, which is a unique feature of this neighborhood and the South Salem neighborhoods as a whole. Usually neighborhoods are confined to like one predominant main style, but this neighborhood really does have a mix and large variety of home styles going on. However, the one thing that this neighborhood really doesn't have a lot of is new construction. So right off the bat here, if you have a priority set on getting into a new construction home, this neighborhood is not going to offer you that selection. The majority of my clients who focus on house hunting in the Faye Wright neighborhood, they tend to have a focus on older homes with some level of funkiness to them. Just imagine really quick the Brady Bunch house. That is the vibe that this neighborhood is giving. And I'm finding that my YouTube clients who end up gravitating towards this neighborhood above all else, they have a priority on finding a cool, funky, or character home, and they want optimal convenience in terms of location. Typically, they also want a neighborhood that's really welcoming to dogs and has a focus on just getting out and walking around those streets with their sweet fur babies. The Faye Wright neighborhood is home to one of my personal favorite secret neighborhoods, which is called Alderbrook. I've created an entire vlog about the Alderbrook neighborhood, which I've linked at the end of this video, but what you're seeing right now on the screen is the Alderbrook neighborhood. This is a smaller area within the larger Faye Wright neighborhood that is tree-filled, and unless you know where to look, you would have no idea that it exists. Generally speaking, the houses in the Alderbrook neighborhood, they are on the very funky and unique architectural spectrum, which I love. So if you like the idea of perusing houses and just driving in your car to check out really great architecture, this is one spot that you cannot miss. The Alderbrook neighborhood, in comparison to a lot of other similar neighborhoods in South Salem, it's relatively flat. So you are not going to find houses on massive hillsides here for the most part, with views going out towards the valley. But what you are going to find in the Alderbrook neighborhood, which again is a smaller segment of the larger Faye Wright neighborhood, is large trees, big lots, big houses, but above all else, There are large, massive trees that provide privacy and a very secluded feel, which means if you are somebody who loves the idea of living in the Faye Wright neighborhood, which is this triangle here, but you want something that's a little bit more secluded and private feeling, you need to look at Alderbrook. Now, if you're thinking to yourself, hold up, Clarity, should I be taking notes on all of this because it's a lot of good information? No, friends, you don't need to take notes. You don't even need to remember anything I'm saying. But what you do need to remember is this one thing. When you have decided that you are relocating to Salem and you are needing to purchase a house, schedule that one-on-one consultation with me so that we can set up a plan of attack and I can help you in this relocation to Salem. I previously mentioned that there's not a lot of new construction that you are going to find within the Faye Wright neighborhood. Ever so often there is going to be like one house that pops up that's new construction, but if your main focus is finding a new construction property, you should probably be looking in some of the other neighborhoods in South Salem or Northeast Salem. The Faye Wright neighborhood is going to be geared much more towards resale properties. Like I mentioned earlier, the Faye Wright neighborhood has a large variety of home styles and price points. So if you are not looking for a super grandiose, super funky, large home in this neighborhood, you can expect that the price point can be around $420,000, and that's going to be at the low end. But if you are looking at a place like the Alderbrook neighborhood, which is that section in the larger Faye Wright neighborhood with all those beautiful trees, you can expect to pay upwards of $650,000. It is very common for houses in the Alderbrook neighborhood to go closer to $1 million. So the variety of home styles and architecture and price points that's offered here in the Faye Wright neighborhood is vast, which really does make it feel like a catch-all neighborhood so long as you don't want new construction. The main streets for the Faye Wright neighborhood going north to south are going to be Commercial Street, which is located right here, and then we also have Liberty Street, which is located right here. The main streets going east to west that you need to be aware of is Kubler, which is located right here at the south end of the neighborhood. As you can see by my pretty drawing here, I just made a triangle. It's important to know that inside of this triangle is almost exclusively residential streets, but a few of these residential streets do run east to west and will connect you from one side of the triangle to the other. For example, we have the residential streets of Madrona, Ewald, Browning, Idlewood, and Boone. These are going to be residential streets that cut through the neighborhood. The rest of the streets in this triangle are not really going to connect you from one side of the triangle to the other, which is important to know because a lot of these streets are dead ends, cul-de-sacs, and they are just going to end up taking you in a circle. If you're wanting to connect from, let's say, Liberty Street to Commercial Street and you don't take one of these main roads that I just mentioned, then you're going to find yourself trying to join traffic on Liberty Street or Commercial Street from a road that doesn't have a traffic light. If you try and jump onto the main commuting roads with using a street that doesn't have a traffic light, you are going to have a really hard time actually getting out of this neighborhood. So that means that you do need to be mindful about these certain and specific access points in and out of the Faye Wright neighborhood. Otherwise, it's going to feel like a maze, and trust me, you're going to get frustrated because I have many times before trying to get out of here. On the flip side to that, it does mean that there are only a handful of roads that cut through this neighborhood. So if you are wanting privacy, you want quiet, you don't want to have to worry about cars cutting through your street at high speeds, no worries, because there are plenty of streets tucked away in this neighborhood that are not going to be ideal for people cutting through the neighborhood to get to one side to the other. And I hear it time and time again, this neighborhood is so secluded and private feeling if you know where to look. Or you ask me, because I know where to look. If you're finding value in this video so far, give it a thumbs up and comment down below with why you are thinking that the Faye Wright neighborhood might be the right one for you. Okay, so let's talk more about the north to south streets that you are going to be using if you live in the Faye Wright neighborhood. The first street we're talking about is Commercial Street, which is located right here. This is going to be a 4-lane road that goes north and south. Commercial Street is going to connect you to downtown Salem if you take it all the way up to the north, and then if you take it all the way down to the south, you can link up with Interstate 5. Within this specific stretch that defines the side of the Faye Wright neighborhood, you are going to have so many amenities at your disposal on Commercial Street. At the tippy top here, you are going to have Roth's grocery store, and then further south, you're going to have things like Fred Meyer's, gas stations, there's a postal office here, and then there are just so many fast food places and restaurants and other general strip mall amenities. You also have things like Trader Joe's and Winco, which is a really great place to get bulk items and super cheap groceries, so long as you eat them very quickly. Commercial Street connects with Kubler Street, which is located right here, and Kubler Street is going to connect you to things like Costco and another exit to get onto Interstate 5. Next on our list, going north to south, is Liberty Street. Liberty Street and Commercial Street are very, very similar in many ways, and this tippy top point up here is the tip of the Faye Wright neighborhood, but it's also the point where Commercial Street and Liberty Street fork off. Just like Commercial Street, Liberty Street runs north to south, but it's a bit smaller than Commercial Street. In most sections, Liberty Road does have 4 lanes, 2 going in either way, but Liberty is just not as expansive as Commercial Street. Liberty Street has more of a focus on connecting you with the residential roads, and it's not nearly as full of amenities like grocery stores and other goodies that Commercial Street can offer you. But you are still going to find things like another Roth's grocery store, which is right here, and then one of my favorite places to eat, which is called McMinimum's and is located right on Liberty Street. And then of course there are just kind of random businesses scattered throughout the other pockets of Liberty Street. Liberty Street is also going to connect you with Kubler Street, which, as a reminder, is the one that can connect you with Costco and Interstate 5. So the takeaway here is that the main north to south streets in the Faye Wright neighborhood that you're going to be relying on probably the most really come down just to Commercial Street and Liberty Street. They have the most commerce going on. They are both going to take you to downtown Salem, and they have the ability to link you up with Interstate 5. If you use Commercial Street or Liberty Street, they're both going to allow you to get into downtown in about 5 to 20 minutes. And if you want to take either Liberty Street or Commercial Street to connect with Kubler, which will then take you to Interstate 5, it'll take you anywhere from about 10 to 20 minutes. Let's talk about the important east to west roads that you are going to be using most if you decide to move into the Faye Wright neighborhood. I previously mentioned that there are a handful of east to west streets that cut through the Faye Wright neighborhood, which we will be talking about. But first, we are going to be talking about the main road, which is Kubler. Kubler Street is located right here, and it outlines the bottom end of the Faye Wright neighborhood. Now, this particular section here really is all about commuting. There aren't going to be any shops or retail spaces in this lower section of Kubler, which means that this section is just about functionality. As you can see here, Kubler connects with Liberty Street right here, and then Commercial Street right here. Kubler is going to be the street you want to take if you are wanting to get over to Interstate 5, which is located right here. Kubler is also going to get you to places like Costco, and it has 4 lanes, 2 going in either direction, and it is a very functional street that is important to the Faye Wright neighborhood, but also to almost all of the other South Salem neighborhoods. Everyone uses Kubler to shuffle themselves on or off of Interstate 5. One feature about this specific section of Kubler is that it really doesn't connect you with the actual neighborhood of Faye Wright. There are just a handful of roads that branch off of the northern kind of tippy part of Kubler that shuffle you into the Faye Wright neighborhood. So that means that your main points of linkage and connection with Kubler really comes down to the connecting points at Liberty Street right here and then Commercial Street right here. So the takeaway here is that Kubler really doesn't connect you too well to get in and out of the Faye Wright neighborhood, but it is going to be optimal if you are wanting to connect via Liberty Street or Commercial Street. Now let's talk about some of the smaller roads that cut through the middle of the Faye Wright neighborhood going east to west. These roads include Madrona, Ewald, Browning, Idlewood, and Boone Road. These are going to be streets that you use if you want to jump from Commercial Street to Liberty Street or vice versa. These streets mostly have stoplights, which make them really great access points for cutting through the neighborhood. They are purely residential streets, which means you are not going to find stores or big shops along most of them. Overall, the Faye Wright neighborhood is located next to the main commuting roads in South Salem, and it is an incredibly convenient neighborhood to get into downtown Salem, Interstate 5, grocery shopping, gas stations, and so much more. But even though it's so incredibly conveniently located, it has this really great ability to have areas in the neighborhood that feel completely secluded and private. So this blend of convenience and privacy makes this a huge highlight, not just for my clients, but a lot of people who are looking for that perfect Goldilocks neighborhood. There are some really great parks in this neighborhood, and if you have a doggy, you are going to be so happy to know that this is a very dog-friendly neighborhood. You're gonna see a lot of people walking around with their dogs, and especially poodles. A lot of people have poodles in this neighborhood, but don't worry, if you don't have a poodle, you'll still fit in. You're also gonna have easy access to some of the great parks like Woodmancy Park, which is located right here and is really great for walking the doggo or playing disc golf or playing pickleball on the tennis courts. You are also going to have quick and easy access to Hillview Park, which is a really fun place to take the dog because it has a grassy area and really well paved walking paths. But better yet, it is right in the middle of this neighborhood, which makes it feel like a very private park. You really don't have many people in this park who aren't actually neighbors to the park, which means it is a great place to go meet your new neighbors and mingle. The last notable amenity in this neighborhood is the Salem Tennis and Swim Club, which is located right here. And as you probably guessed, it has tennis and swimming available. But good news to my pickleball lovers, because it also has pickleball. This is a membership only club, but you can become a member for about $150 per month. I did make a vlog tour of the Alderbrook section within the Faye Wright neighborhood, which is linked at the end of this video. So check it out next if you're like, ooh, Faye Wright, Alderbrook, yeah, those are sounding like good areas of town for me. My clients who tend to gravitate towards this area generally have a budget of $575,000 or more, and their primary focus is finding a funky home that is incredibly convenient to downtown Salem, the interstate, grocery shopping, and any other amenity that they might need. If you're ready to become my YouTube client and explore this neighborhood together, book that one-on-one consultation with me so that we can get the ball rolling. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to check out this one next. Bye, friends.